listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Evening, fellas, and away we go. We got another great show for you guys tonight. Welcome to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. It's the only podcast in the whole wide world that brings the firehouse kitchen table right to you. As always, joined by my man, my buddy, Louis Ruffi-Rufrano.
What up?
Pandemic Pete up in the corner there.
Shalom.
Tonight we got it was put together last minute, bang them up, right, fellas? We had internet problems. We're running from place to place, calling them in the car.
Right under the car.
We expect nothing less.
Under the car.
In the car.
Before we get to that, Pete, we got two things we got to do. We forgot to tell them about the old, not the tip of the day, about the word of the day. So we'll start on that, my friend, which is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day is pissa.
Very apropos.
Yeah.
Pissa. Oh! So listen, gentlemen, since we didn't tell you in the pre-show, since everything was running tight, whenever someone says the word of the day, you'll hear, and we all take a drink. If you feel like it. If not, don't worry about it. You know?
We'll
Whatever
drink.
We'll be drinking for you.
Okay, Pete, the shameless plug, my man. Go right into it before we introduce
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this show and have a pair of ears and eyes, you'll know that we're brought to you by GettinSaltyApparel.com, where you'll find the coolest firefighter apparel on the internet. That's right. And accessories as well. So get your hats, get your t-shirts, get your hoodies, get your toiletry bags at GettinSaltyApparel.com.
Sweet. So tonight we got on two hard charges. I thought we were hard charges, Ruffy. I thought we were all intertwined. I thought I had a lot of family on the job until I sat down for 5 minutes with this guys and I started sliding at the table. Oh man, these guys have
uncles,
more
sisters, cousins. The guy who lived next door, his brothers, his uncles, cousins, sisters, brother. Holy!
We got Edzo Kelly and Neal Mullane from Boston Fire Department.
Hey.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks,
my boy Neal here, we were in Proby school together, right, Nealo?
We were just yesterday.
It seems like yesterday, 26 or 27 years ago, whatever it was. I don't know. Yeah, man. So we're going to dive right into it, man. These guys know each other probably longer than me and Ruffy know each other, right? You guys grew up together in the same neighborhood. Is that correct?
Yeah, we used to ride bikes to fires together with the scanner taped to our handlebars. And that's what we met. And our fathers would both be at the fires, and we were like, "Hey, your dad's on the job." He's like, "Yeah, I know." So we became friends, and and went from there.
How'd you guys met?
Freeport Street. Yeah.
You guys met in school? You met doing sports?
No. Chasing fires.
Oh, really? Chasing fires? You met each
on
other?
our bicycles.
No shit.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So your father and his father, both you guys were in the same firehouse at that time? Is that how it worked? Or early on?
No, my old man was down the south end, and Neal's father and uncle were down Columbia Road, Engine 21 in Dorchester. Very busy house.
Really? So how many guys? Go ahead.
Bigger fires though, they'd be there. Both companies would be there.
Right,
so he'd be chasing his father. I'd be chasing my father.
Did
from the house.
they know each other?
Oh yeah.
They were good. They were good friends.
Good friends, yeah.
Right.
Till my father passed.
So even before that, though, you guys had grandfathers on, right? And even before that, you guys both
Our grandfathers worked together.
Your grandfathers worked together.
Yeah, you guys call it 18 truck.
Yeah. we put the ladder first. We would say that on ladder 18.
Ladder 18.
So ladder 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they're in ladder 18. So your grandfather, then a bunch of uncles, right?
Yeah.
And your brothers, his brothers.
Edzo's
brothers.
A couple of my brothers, yeah.
So two
got
brothers.
civil service, right, Edzo?
You ain't shitting.
Nice. No, what was that? Is that your father or your grandfather, Edzo?
It's my grandfather up on the turntable at ladder 18.
Truck
That's a great
18.
picture.
Ladder 18.
Truck 18, yeah.
Tiller
I wonder what year that was. That was probably like the 50s.
50s, early 50s, it looks like, man.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
My grandfather was assigned there in 49.
Wow.
1949.
Whoa.
So he was there. He might even be in the picture. I didn't even see this one before.
My grandfather
Really?
got assigned down the neighborhood I'm in, the neighborhood we're in now, down the south end on ladder 13. We don't have a ladder 13 no more. Went out of service in the 80s.
Really?
But he had I actually had someone look up the paperwork on him, and he got bounced around a lot he had a beef with a lieutenant. He whacked a lieutenant down ladder 13, got launched around a bit, and then landed at ladder 18 for most of his career. And he ended up driving. He got off the job driving the chief of department there, John Martin.
Edzo, I know a guy just like that. You know, I heard of this one guy keying cars in Queens and shit at funerals.
Yeah.
And listen, if you never get lifted, you never really lived, right?
Cool. Here's a trivia for you. What are the only two companies firehouse that match up in New York to Boston?
Oh wow.
What was the question?
What are the only two firehouses that company ladder and engine match up to ladder and truck in Boston?
What do you got?
29-11?
Nope. Close. They have 28 and 11.
Right.
Ours is actually it's 22 and 13, but 13 went out of service.
So is that the only one? The only firehouse where they match? Is that what you're saying? 22 and 13, which is up on 80th Street, 82nd or 83rd.
Yeah,
22 engines.
I'm sure your listeners will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was it. There might have been one years and years ago, but modern day 22 and 13. We lost 13.
Now, how many members are in Boston Fire Department?
About 1,500, depending on,
15 or 1600.
We get a lot of retirements in January and a lot of retirements in July.
Now, you guys basically run the same way at every box. You get what? 3 engine, two ladders. How does it run on a box?
Four now. We're up to 4, 3. The rescue, a tower, a safety chief, a district, a RIT. The fourth engine and the third truck are RIT with one district chief.
So that's kind of. I mean, that's what New York is doing pretty much, right?
Yeah,
you got 4-2 rescue squad. You get the. You have the rescue goes on that.
Yeah, rescue goes on the boat. We don't have the manpower though. We're only running an officer and 3 firefighters on every truck.
Really?
Once in a while, an officer at 4.
How many rescue companies do you have? Just one, or is it 2? Or they split 2 of them?
We have 2 divisions, rescue in each division, tower ladder in each division.
It's basically the same. Like our districts are battalions, and we have 10 districts, and
3 or 4 houses in a district.
Wow. So the thing about Neal I love, bro, is that you were living in Boston, right? And you came down to New York. Now, did you come down just to take the test to get on down here, or are you chasing the cow down here? What were you doing?
I was skiing up in New Hampshire, and I saw a guy with a ladder 136 sweater on skiing, and I started talking to him, and I said, hey, you guys, I was 19. I'm like, you guys having a test? He goes, yeah, my kid's taking it. You got to take it. So I literally signed up, took the test, drove down. I was driving back and forth myself. I went to Pudgy's course out in
Pudgy Walsh. I took that course too.
Yeah. I was crashing at a 124 truck with Captain Howie Carlson at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I was very good friends with Billy Carlson.
Wow.
And they really, they helped me out getting on getting me through the whole paces to get on that job down there. Boston wasn't hiring either. They were in a pretty good hiring freeze, until I think Edzo's class. But from 91 to 97, there weren't many hired at all. It was still recovering from like a recession. So
yeah, if you think of, 1,500 guys, that's not a lot of turnover there, right? Probably.
No, we do like 2 classes of 50 a year, and it's like hitting the lottery.
Holy shit! The fact that all you guys know each other and all got on the job is like an incredible feat, really.
Yeah, but the guys in New York, getting on the job was great. It was a great experience, and I was planning on staying. I never thought I was going to get on Boston. You need 100, and then you got to go in the lottery sometimes, and they pick your number. So I hit the lottery twice, and I'm very grateful. And it's just been great.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Where were you living when you came down? Did you have a apartment?
So this guy named Marty O'Leary was a legend. He grew up in New York, and he was supposed to go on FDNY. He missed this window because of a technicality. So he got on Hartford Fire at the Hotel Vendôme in '72 when we lost 9 guys. He met my father and uncle, and they drank until the sun came up. And my father said to him, "Why don't you move to Boston and get on Boston Fire? We're going to hire a bunch of guys." This was like 69, 70. And then Artie got on Boston Fire, did an unbelievable career. 25 years later, almost to the day, I moved into his house in Staten Island and got on New York.
No shit.
Not kidding.
That's incredible.
Artie had the best stories.
Really?
Who is that? What's his last name?
O'Leary.
Yeah, I see him on
O'Leary.
Yeah, I see him on Facebook all the time. That guy has the pictures and the name right all the time. He's always on.
Yeah, he had the salty. Yeah.
Everybody puts him on. That's how I know that name.
He's an active member of Boston. And
great guy.
Up at Laconia, up at Biker Week.
He was crazy.
How old is he?
He was like 60, 2, I believe, somewhere around there.
Possibly.
Yeah,
We might
he was
reach
still
out to you at
working.
some-
He was still
Yeah.
working.
No shit. Is he really?
No, he was. And right up
He
until
dropped
his
dead. Good guy.
Like
I
died?
worked with him right before
Oh, he passed
died.
away.
He
You're
died.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Can't have him on the show then.
No, he's
available
not going to
for
be a
the show.
good show.
Well, you would have loved this
Yes.
guy.
Yeah.
He's got his own fan club.
I was detailed in with him over at Engine 50. He went to Engine 50 at the end because I think he was living in Medford or something. And I stayed up till about 4 in the morning listening to him tell stories. And he was telling a story about when he was on rescue, they had to run down the combat zone. And a guy was stabbed up in there and down an alley. And someone was detailed into the rescue, starts doing CPR on the guy. And the cops go, "Don't get that kid away from him." He goes, I forget the name of it, but they said that don't put your lips on that guy's lips. He goes into the alleys and starts to come out of the rubber.
Allegedly could have done it. I don't know. Plays for the other team, maybe. I don't know what's going on.
Gary.
So you spend how many
Oh,
years
my.
down here, Neal? You down here
Just over 3 years.
3 years? You're on.
Yeah.
So you go to 235 engine, great house. How'd you get in there, bro? You use
You know, they put your name in a hat and you just
yeah.
no,
You
I
wound
can't-
up in 235.
No, my father was friends with the union guy. He was the vice president of the union at one time here in Boston. He hung out with the guys from the UFA. They made a call, and I got a great house.
That's a
Absolutely
great house. They still do. They still do work. At that time, they were doing really good. Good work.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
trying
I
to
came on
remember
with John Fian, who was the commissioner's son.
Yeah.
He
Where
went
are
to
you going?
235 too.
Oh,
didn't
that's
he?
right. I'm good friends with
Yeah.
John. I'm good friends with John. Yeah.
He's the best. And then I got a great second engine, 47. Now, that may or may not have been an A engine, and they made it a B engine because it was right on the cusp. But it ended up being a B engine. About me, Joey DiBernardo, Jeremy Cassell, Rob Roscoe,
Oh shit.
all ended up there, like by the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
To
Sure.
47, and the captain didn't want nothing to do with us. He's like, he called us transplants. He wouldn't give us front pieces.
Yeah.
Bunch of fucking
Those guys did have a
transplants.
tough time when they were bouncing around going
Yeah.
through that thing. It was a little tough to when you were doing the
rotation was tough.
rotation. Yeah, because guys knew you were leaving. You know what I mean? They knew you were there for a short time, whatever it was, less than a year, right? I think.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like the whole year thing. 2 or 3 months would have been fine to see high-rise fires, whatever. But it's a long year. But I love 47. Don't get me wrong. I had an absolute blast, caught some great fires. It was a great run there.
Right. You went back
And
to
then-
235 though, right after the rotation. You were there long enough.
I went to 78 truck for about, I think, 8 or 9 months, which was right down, not too far from where
That's
I was.
the hot
down
corner.
there. The hot
Isn't
corner,
it?
yeah.
That's the hot corner, baby.
Caught some good work there, private
Yeah.
dwelling work.
They can do it.
Yep. And then they bounced me back to Brooklyn.
So when did you take the test while you were on the FDNY for Boston? Or you had taken it before you got on the job?
Yeah, right about the time I was coming on. Yeah.
You took the test for Boston, and then they called.
Before right before drill school, took the test.
Was there any hesitation, or was it a no-brainer? You were going back.
No, I never, honestly, Coobs, I never thought I was gonna hit that lottery again. It's so difficult. Plus, we have veteran status, and I wasn't a veteran. I had pins in my knee. I couldn't get in the military. I was going in as a corpsman, so I didn't get the veterans points. So when I went to New York, and I scored high enough, they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna get on." So, but there was no guarantee on Boston at all. We might have a lot of fathers, uncles, and brothers and stuff, but that don't matter. It's all by the list.
It's on
No, definitely.
Don't help.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
same
but
here.
what about when you got the call though? Did you think about it, or it was a no-brainer? You were going back to Boston. That was it.
Actually, my mom made it to my graduation at the Rock for the FDNY, and she passed away 4 months later of cervical cancer.
Oh, that sucks.
So my father
Sorry.
was by himself. My sister was getting married. It was at that point it was a leave of absence from FDNY.
Right.
Make sure you make it through the academy in Boston. Another winter. It was awful, but it was great. And then, if I didn't love,
And you can make a decision.
then I could make it. So I took the leave of absence, and then my father was kind of by himself at that point.
Yeah,
Without my
It
mom,
made
so-
sense to come back. Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
and the Sox are much better than the Yankees. The Yankees just suck. Someone has.
We're Met fans. We don't care. We beat your ass in the
Are
don't really
they
care.
a major league team?
The Mets? Oh, you'll see it this year, baby.
Oh, okay. I was just
You'll see it.
sure.
You'll see it this year. Don't worry about it.
Since '86.
That's great. Edzo, were you on the job already when he got on, or who got on first? How did that work
I
out?
did. I got on 97.
You got on Boston first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got on 97. You got on 98. 98.
All right,
Oh,
so he was
Come on,
already
just ahead
on.
of him.
So he's your bop then.
Yes, I was the Bop. Johnny Bop, as you called him.
Johnny
Yeah,
Pop.
What do they call up in Boston?
Yeah, we call him like probies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
What's
Junior
the
Bird.
Jake? What's the Jake come from? Where does that come from, Jake?
From the J key that the Chiefs used to carry. J keys.
Oh, is that right?
You open up the firebox to like hit a second alarm, the J key. So if you were useless, you just carried the J key.
we got a few of those guys.
Yeah, so that's our baseball team. Boston Fire Baseball Jakes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are some of the similarities in the jobs, Neal? And then some of the big differences, that you were.
Both academies are legit, no question about it.
Yeah.
I caught both of them in the winter, shoveling hydrants and repelling, and we do everything. I think that everything's similar, except in Boston, right off the bat, you were sort of expected to drive apparatus right off the bat.
Uh-huh.
Now we're kind of delaying that a year on guys, so they can concentrate more. I think it's a better move.
Right.
And in Boston, definitely we work on throwing ladders, ground
You
ladders
guys
all the
ladder
time.
the shit out of the
Where
buildings.
you guys do more on focus on ropes and positional firefighting, the OV, the roof, the teams. But I mean, all in all, it's same circus, different clowns.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I see a lot of pictures of I do a lot of stuff with the Instagram and all that crap, but I always see Boston. Whenever I see a fire in Boston, if it's up as flat as every window, like to ridiculousness almost, right? There's ladders. They definitely ladder the shit out of the building.
If you're not on the first or second due truck, you're supposed to report with a 35.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that, but it's definitely, you could tell that they ladder Coobs. When you watch these buildings, 3-4 stories, they got ladders to every fucking window. Really,
Edzo's probably thrown a 50 downtown. How many times? We throw 50.
Enough.
Yeah,
50.
I've thrown it 3 times, and it's tough every time.
There's never enough guys for a 50.
No, I'm sure.
No.
There's not enough guys
Guys
for
on
35,
it.
for God's sakes. 35's tough.
35. We do the 2-man with the 35 sometimes. That's a workout,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw Mike Gomez throw a 35 by himself. Skinny little Mike Gomez.
That's impressive.
35. Little guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Had
It's
the
a lot of
will.
leverage.
Now, did they have how the FDNY had the Warriors 77 stuff like that? Did they have something similar to that in Boston? The time frame where it was what time was that? Same time or?
It was the same time, and pretty much all the big cities in the 60s. I mean, there's nothing like the South Bronx or something like that, or whatever. I don't know, Brooklyn or something, but Boston burned like crazy. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, Boston was the arson capital of the world. We actually had an arson ring. It was the largest arson conspiracy in the country. There was 6 or 8 people that were involved. There was a cop, a fireman,
Really?
locks. They lit like 280, 290 fires in the city. They were toying with dudes. They lost their shit.
For what purpose were they doing it? They were just
layoffs
Insurance?
81, 82 in Boston, right? So the cops were getting laid off, the fire was getting laid off. And these kids kind of got it in their heads that they would show how much they need the firefighters when they start burning. They started off with dumpsters, and they went down the back bay where we work now. And matter of fact, we got an arsonist running around our neighborhood now.
Good dumpster kid.
We had a 2-alarm
Nice.
fire on there a couple of weeks ago, but
Leave him a gallon of gas.
they took a pack of cigarettes, lit the cigarette, put it into a Ziploc bag with kerosene, and let the cigarette burn down into the kerosene. Kerosene would light, the bag would melt, and it would light whatever was on fire. So they tested out their theory on the dumpsters in the back bay, and they ended up lighting like 12 dumpsters on fire. So then they started doing, they had a ton, like all cities, we had a ton of abandoned property back then. Tons and tons of abandoned 3-deckers and stuff. So they started burning abandoned buildings, and they realized that if they put a tire up against the wall and then did their little bag with the cigarette
that'll burn
kerosene,
shitty, man.
the tire would give them the energy to get the house going. They lit like 285. They almost killed Al
Holy
Lynch.
shit.
A bunch of guys, about half a dozen guys, rode a roof down, probably 3 or 4 stories, in a toy factory over in Southie that they lit. It was a truss that let go.
And they used to listen to the scanner, and after they lit one, they lit it light on one side of like the division. So they knew all the companies that were over there. Then they figured out where the furthest company would be from it, and then light one there.
Oh shit!
So it would start sailing by the time you got there. I mean, we were little kids, but we were like running around with fires in our own neighborhood.
They'd call in dummy stills, like to get everybody rolling in the wrong direction.
Rob in the chat is asking what they don't use triptochlorate.
Never proved.
Hi, Chad.
Shameless plug to my Uncle Mike. He got all those guys back to work as the union president. All the guys that got laid off, he got them all back to work. He didn't save all the companies, but he got all the guys back.
Hey, there's a book written by an ATF agent called is it Ring of Fire?
Ring of Fire, yeah.
I'll double check it. I'll look it up on my phone.
It
just come out like a year ago.
That rings a bell.
You can get it on Amazon or something, but it tells the story of that arson ring.
I'm gonna check that out. Ring of Fire.
I think so, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Neal, when you came back and you went to 23 truck, is that near where he was in 17? Are you guys running with each other? You see each other? It was totally opposite.
No, I wanted to. First, I wanted to go to a truck. I loved the truck, and it was in my father's district, which you guys call battalion. So my father was on
close
the
to him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want. You never want to. I didn't want to work in the same firehouse with him. I wanted to go. I kind of make your own bones. And my father was like this legend. I could never touch the fires that him and Jacko went to.
Probably the most respected engine boss that arguably wore the uniform.
So to break his balls, I went to the truck. I know he called me. He called me a fireman's helper.
Fireman's helper.
It's like a fireman's helper.
Your dad was a captain.
He was a lieutenant, 21, but he got promoted from firefighter to lieutenant. He went on paper to a different company, but he never went there because the spot opened up and he got it. Back then there was a little more politics involved. Now it's pure seniority, so he never left his locker. Right. So he ended up firefighter, just moved into the officer's room.
Wow.
And he was there for 43 years, from 68 to 09.
Wow.
And the same busy 4,000 runs, 4,500 runs a year.
You know how busy there's always 4 or 5, 6 different companies that they're only separated by 50 or 100 runs or something a year.
Right.
So 21's always, for time and eternal, for 100 years has been one of the 5 busiest engines in the city.
Yeah, so I caught some work with them, but one fire in particular was at 90 Norwell Street, and I got trapped on the second floor of a 2.5 in the rear in the bathroom. Guy was opening up a porn store, had thousands of videotapes on the stairs. It was during a blizzard. Fire hit the staircase, went up, saw nothing but orange, heard the crackling, jumped into the bathtub, looked up in the bathtub, in the fiberglass tub, basically giving a mayday and saying my prayers. And they had actually cut, by law, by code, if you don't have a ceiling fan in a bathroom in Massachusetts, you have to have a window. They cut a little window in it, and it saved me.
Really?
I went out the window head first, and Tommy Blake, who's a chief now as well, reached up, pulled me out, I burnt my neck. He burnt all his arms, pulling me out, and then we both flipped over the top of a 20-foot straight ladder into a snowbank, which saved us again. But my father was working that night, and he heard me on the radio, and immediately just got on the rig, got on engine 21. One of my best friends was driving him, and they said they hit everything but the lottery on Columbia Road with the engine. Trying to get the
Allegedly.
Then he goes to the hospital. I'm in the burn center. And he comes in and he says, "We wouldn't have got to you." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Dad." Good thing there was a window.
No,
I'll send you a video on that, Coobs. I got a good video of it.
That book is Burn, Boston, Burn.
Oh, that's
Burn, Boston, Burn. Oh, somebody wrote that in the chat. Yeah. I'll write that down.
I think the original manuscript was called Ring of Fire, but they changed it. That's right.
So Edzo, you started in 17 truck. You stayed in 17 truck the whole time?
Yeah, I'm still there.
So did you guys ever work a tour together, or?
He's the chief in the house now.
Oh, he's the chief in your house you are now.
Did you ever get detailed down there?
Yeah, I got detailed. I think we probably worked together a few times.
I worked for him. We did. I remember working on 23 for softball.
That's right. Yeah.
We covered each other for softball one night.
Right, but you guys ever catch a good job together, working on the same tour, or?
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Probably we were just because I just said to him, I don't know. I'll speak for myself. If you ask me like what fire, I can't remember shit. You start talking about 100 flowing in my head.
Yeah.
And I said to him like, "No, what good fires have we had?" He's like, Orient Heights was a good fire. I'm like, that was a good fire. that was 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds with gusts up to like 60 or 70 miles an hour. And they had a yacht club. I don't know how it started, but a yacht club went on fire.
Started on a boat.
Yeah, all right. So the yacht club, the wind, this yacht club just like torched the neighborhood. I was talking about Johnny Mullen the other day.
Yeah, a lot of fiberglass boats were sailing.
Yeah. It was the Fire Olympics. There was about 12 different buildings going. Pick your own building.
They thought it was next to the airport. They thought it like a 747
plane crash or something, right?
And it was coming right at us, and it was hot. You couldn't see shit. You're trying to get in houses, and
we had a smoke
just pointing houses. Yeah.
Wind is the worst.
Ember patrols. Embers everywhere.
That's a pisser.
Wicked.
Hey!
Wicked pisser.
There you go.
That's a wicked pisser.
What do you want?
Water.
Did he say water?
Water.
Water?
That's a water. Put the water on the core for you.
So let me. How much did they break your ball? How much did they break your balls when you in New York City with your accent, bro? Were they all over you all the time?
My first watch at 2:35, I read the ticket. It was a car fire at Park and Marcy. Tony DeRubio came down and said, "What the hell are you saying?" He said, "It's a core fire at Park and Marcy." I'm like, "What are you saying?" Yeah, that was
Crazy man.
So you moved up pretty quick, though, man. Right? Is it the same way? You take a test, same way as New York City. Tough test. You get on the list. You got to wait. What turn and It seems like you moved up pretty quick.
Yeah. You just got to top it. You got to be at the top.
So he's the top rope.
How many guys retire is to how many guys they promote.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys died. You died one, didn't you?
Nobody caught that. Kev,
I got
me,
three on the Chiefs list about 6 years ago, but I knew you'd get it eventually. You just, keep plugging away. But I mean, I always enjoyed it, the books and reading, to going to school, getting the degrees, stuff like that, I mean, I enjoyed hanging out with him at the bar too when he was doing all the politics, but I couldn't hang.
Right.
I had to go home early, like, I got to study for 8 hours tomorrow. And it sucked.
I stayed out drinking with his uncle.
And he stayed outside learning the union
networking.
Yeah. Networking. Yeah.
A lot of network.
Yeah. We knew 15 years ago, like he knew, like he goes, "You're going to be a chief someday," and I said, "Yeah, you're going to be the president of the IFF someday." Like that was, and then we just stuck to our goals. And like now it's like, do I want to be the commissioner someday? Hopefully, that's ultimately something that could be in the cards, but you never know.
Right. I didn't even know you were an associate professor at Anna Maria College.
I know, that sounds cool, huh?
I think we actually have tape of you at one of your classes, right, Pete?
Yeah, we do actually. We do. Yeah, hold on. Here it is.
Wood drastically underestimates the impact of social distinctions predicated upon wealth, especially inherited wealth. You got that from Vickers. Work in Essex County, page 98, right? Yeah, I read that too. Were you going to plagiarize the whole thing for us? Do you have any thoughts of your own on this matter? But is that your thing? You come into a bar, you read some obscure passage, and then pretend you pawn it off as your own idea just to impress some girls? Embarrass my friend?
Now, that girl with Gianna, she would have told that kid to go F himself.
She probably would have hit him with a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, all right, so let's get on Edzo's political aspirations here.
Let's not. We live it. It's okay.
Where did you start out? You started in the union where? As a delegate? How does it work in Boston?
I ran for delegate to the state convention in probably 98 or 99.
Right.
A guy named Jackie Joyce, who was best friends with his father. If I had to be like number 12 to go to the state convention, I came in like 13th or something. And we were at the bar after. And he goes, "Cal, what'd you finish in the election?" I go, "I think I was 13, Jackie." He goes, "I've been going to these things for years. You go. Well, you younger kids got to learn to go." So I went to convention that year. I didn't even have a car right up on my ride off of Chico Finn. And went down to the state convention, had a good time. And then we went on the D&W together.
Yeah.
In
2000?
02 or something. Then I went on the executive board as a Division I rep in 03. No, that was 02. I went on as Division I rep. And then in 05, I got elected president of the local. I was a young kid. I was 31. And then and we had a nasty fight. And then in 2008, a legend, actually one of his bosses at 23 was the vice president when I was the president. Great guy, Bobby Kilduff. He died of cancer.
Yeah.
He had a nasty fight with cancer for years. He's walking around with a chemo pump on his hip, fighting with the city, you know.
Coobs, your mic got disconnected. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, this Coobs' mic is disconnected. He's probably going to have to come back in the room. He had a confused look on his face, gentlemen. Apologize for interrupting.
Hey, keep going, Edzo.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's probably better. Believe me, that's why I'm saying go ahead.
So in 2008, when we lost Bobby Kilduff, he was also on the state board. So I ran and got elected as the ledge agent of the state. And then a good friend of ours, Bobby McCarthy, retired as the state president in January of 11, I became state president. And then 4 years ago, I went down to D.C. as the secretary treasurer.
So Edzo, we talked about that in the pre-show a little bit. Like, just when you get into the union and the FDNY, pretty much you're out of the firehouse, right? So you were saying that there's times that you were out of the firehouse, but most of the time you were
when I was president of Boston, I was out for 5.5 years. I was off the truck.
Well, he had to take on a 20-year sitting mayor that hated us.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying we should just take what he gives us, take what he gives us. And Edzo said, no, fuck this guy. We're going full bore against it. He found him hiding money and stuff. And
he hated us, right? So it wasn't, when I say it wasn't fair, it's an understatement. Like, they shut the spigot off of the fire department. We did no training. We did CPR, defib. The burn building was condemned. There was no
apparatus
training.
was horrible.
They stopped buying apparatus. So we were driving around on trucks that were like, old school, no doors on them.
Right. So this wasn't the 70s. This is in the 2000s. This is happening. That's ridiculous.
We were driving trucks that came from like 1985.
Wow.
And,
the milk trucks.
84,
with 3 guys.
85. And, we were driving around. 17 had the old bench trucks, like the front seat had a bench, you could fit 4 guys in the front seat. The officer had to have a closet rake under the gas pedal to pick it up because it stuck to the floor when you hit it.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Ladder 6 was driving down Ashland Street behind here, the steering wheel come off. I mean, we had a lot of near misses. So
it's laughing, but that's sad, man.
We had a lot of near misses. Like, we had pumps fail at fires, guys bailing down stairwells, and aerials couldn't come out of the bed. We ran out of apparatus. We were driving around on pickup trucks with ground ladders and hose on throwing the back, and that's what we responded on, is engine and ladder companies on pickup trucks. And the apparatus was in such bad condition. We had both of our good friend, but he worked with him over Huntington Avenue. Ladder 26 lost their brakes on a hill up on Mission Hill in 2009.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was 2009, so it was 12 years ago.
Yeah,
last
January.
Month. About 12.
And the engine, I was on the engine, assigned to the engine. When you could, Fred Flintstone, you literally could see the road through the floorboard.
Really?
Yep, there was a hole 6 inches wide.
You guys ever see that documentary on Detroit called Burn?
No,
Yep.
somebody said, I didn't see it yet.
I've seen a little of it.
Watch it, man. Watch it.
Yeah, those guys are doing work
We
with
were a
minimum
lot
stuff.
like Detroit's fire department, except Boston was finishing with surpluses in the tens of millions of dollars every year. We just had a city hall that didn't like us. And the day the 26 lost their brakes, our friend Kevin Kelly got killed.
Wow.
He was the boss on 26. He was one of the senior lieutenants on the job. And they went down. They lost their brakes on a hill.
Oh, shit.
There were pedestrians walking up both sides of the streets, so they couldn't just crash into the parked cars.
Yeah.
So they creased Huntington Avenue. They did an investigation after it. 68 miles an hour in a ladder truck with no
Holy
brakes.
shit.
With Kevin leaning on the federal side, trying to stop. So the Huntington Avenue is a 4-lane street, 2 lanes in and out, and trolley tracks coming either way. And at 2:30 in the afternoon, there's even money. There's a school bus going down. And they somehow crossed Huntington Avenue with no cars coming, blew through the parked cars opposite Common Hill Ave.
Park Hill Ave.
Blew through a brick wall, blew through the first floor of a high rise, and the first floor of that high rise housed a daycare center. It's a miracle that nobody else got killed.
I don't ever remember hearing that. That's a fucking shame, man.
Oh, 9. Now here's the sick part. That wasn't even the first time 26 lost their brakes on that street. The week before that, New Year's Eve, 23, his truck was covering 26 and lost their brakes on the street parallel. So like when we said we fought the mayor, it wasn't like we weren't just looking for a couple extra shekels. We're trying to get this place straightened out.
Protect the guys,
you know?
yeah, no doubt.
And it was life or death stuff. It wasn't.
It was life or death stuff. Yeah,
we weren't faking.
We had aerial that sticks that wouldn't go out of the bed. You get to a fire, the stick wouldn't go out of the bed.
Yeah, we've had that sometimes on all the spares and stuff like that. Like. But we have a ton of manpower. I mean, we have shit happens, but something with brakes. That's
every day.
Yep.
So Edzo, just to touch base quick with Edzo. So you're still in the firehouse now. You said you worked the other day, right? So
like we have contract language going back probably to the 60s for time off. So when I was president of Boston, you got full time off. The vice president had full time off. The full-time legislative agent had full time off. His uncle Mikey, that was on the executive board of the IFF, had full time off. That goes back time and eternal. The executive board of the IFF goes back to the 80s, early 80s. So when I was state president, we had a side letter in the contract that the state union would pay someone to work for me if I needed the time off. So odds are Monday through Friday, I didn't go in the firehouse except for a night tour, maybe if there was nothing at night. And then I'd go in and work the weekends. So I was off probably like 40% or 50% of the time when I was state president for 5.5 years. Then in this job that I'm in now, we have a side letter in the contract that says I have time off as needed to perform my duties as a union officer. So for pretty much till the pandemic hit, I didn't go in the firehouse too much. Like if I came home, Christmas time, I was home for a week or something. Because I'd be on the road every single week in this job, whether it's in D.C. or somewhere else. So I'd go in the firehouse, like if I came home for a week or two at Christmas or July 4th or something, the office would be closed. And I'd shoot it and get a free, well, not free, it cost me a sawbuck, but I'd get a home cooked meal. Yeah. If I caught a fire, See the boys.
But you worked?
Yeah, I worked last night. I went in last night just,
You catch anything?
It was awful. There was fire to the left of me, fire to the right.
No, saving babies, saving grandbabies. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it though. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about it.
They're cleaning 33's house, doing industrial clean up there. So we got 33's house with us. We got 15 guys for dinner.
Oh, no fun.
So I got 15 pounds of steak tips, which was a mistake. I'm not allowed to
get
shop.
half a cow.
Not allowed to shop or cook. I'm not allowed to use the stove. I screw up everything to do with the meal except eat it.
That's good.
So now that you're in a national position, Edzo, it's like you said, you get to travel the whole country, right?
Yeah.
Is it
U.S. and Canada? Is
it no matter where you go, the guys are basically all the same? Do you find that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? You think about how we're all cut from, not everyone's, you can pretty much interchange New York and Boston. We're just from different, actually, it's probably the same parish. You're probably from St. Anne's in Brooklyn, and I'm from St. Anne's in Dorchester, But we're all working class kids that, thought we hit the lottery when we got a civil service.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like that's basically what it is. And we get a job like this profession of ours, the greatest thing you can do is give. And man, that's what we get to do. We show up and give every day. And that's part of what makes us happy people, Doesn't mean we don't beat the shit out of each other once in a while.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you guys have basements too? I didn't know that.
Yeah, basements, cellars.
Yeah.
Call them cellars. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we mentioned it a little bit when we were talking back and forth. The Boston bombing. Were you guys working? Did you respond?
I was on my day off, but I got a couple tickets to the Sox game, so I went to the Sox game with two other buddies. My cousin Brian was on ladder 29, and my buddy Jimmy Brooks was on engine 39, and we left Fenway Park after the game, walked down to Boylston Street to go hit the bars.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask my cousin to be my best man at my wedding. So when he was trying to screw, and I'm like, no, I got something to tell you. We got to go have a drink. And I'd tell him. So we're standing outside the firehouse at Boylston and Hereford, waiting to get in Dillon's, which is right next door, when the first bomb went off. And then about a minute later, we heard the radio chatter. Like, this isn't a drill. This isn't we thought maybe someone shot a cannon or like, no, this is real. You can hear the screaming. This is, so we went inside and grabbed a bunch of medical supplies, backboards, anything we can carry, radio. And me and the two other guys on the job ran down, and we ended up doing CPR on one of the girls that got killed. And one, the worst part, we matched up a guy's leg, a couple legs by their sneakers.
Really? Holy shit!
It was just all a bloodbath. It was just everything was all blood. But on the fire side, a lot of guys didn't realize too. After the medical, we got those guys into the ambulance, which was actually one of the best most successful multi-trauma incidents ever, because we were surrounded by 4. Here's Tommy. Surrounded by 4 trauma centers, pediatric and adult, and we were right in a part of the city in the Back Bay where we work. Like, it's all easy access, like Manhattan. It's like a grid. So anyway, but there were gas leaks. There was, there were structural damage to us. There were people that were still in buildings that didn't know what was going on. But I'll never forget. The one thing is, little old lady covered in blood as we're running towards the finish line. The runners turned around and they're coming at us. We're carrying the shit. And little old lady who just ran 25 miles is covered in blood, and she was pissed that she couldn't finish the marathon. And I'm like, you gotta go. We gotta get you an ambulance. She goes, I'm fine. She goes, there's a lot more people back there that are in a worse shape than me. I was like, wow, how tough is this lady?
Bird right there, man.
And then one surgeon got stopped in Brookline, so he ran 20 miles already. He had to run an additional 8 miles to get to Mass General. And then he performed surgery for 48 straight hours on people.
No
after
shit,
running
I didn't
28
hear that.
miles.
That's
Hardcore
freaking awesome.
too. And our guys did a great job. But I mean, those are the stories you remember, Edzo was there. His wife was.
Yeah,
his wife
I was. He says his brother-in-law.
Huh?
You asked Neal to be. Paul to be.
No, Brian Sullivan.
Brian
Ladder
Sullivan.
29. Yeah.
So his driver now, his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, is my senior man, and we were in for the night tour. We were doing 10s and 14s. So marathon Monday, we were on group 4, so we're in the night tour. So my wife was running the marathon. My wife's a great runner. So the deal was, I'd have the kids. My father-in-law was in there. Everyone comes to our firehouse, like the whole Boston Fire Department team, 70 runners, take their showers.
FDNY team comes too.
Like everyone that we put all their bags there. You know what locker it's in. You come and finish the marathon. We give you an orange or banana you want, right? So it's kind of like a hub. Families around. Both companies went out the door to a still. They were only like a block from where the bombs went off. And a lot of our guys are veterans. A lot of our guys were in Afghanistan, Iraq, have been around IEDs. So when the bombs went off, I heard the box come in. Someone struck a box that was on Boylston Street. So, we always have a fight. We always have something on Marathon Monday because they put up 500,000 people in our district. Something happens, And I said, figures, another half an hour I would have caught that fire, but I'm not really, the trucks are out and my wife's not done yet and I'm not on the piece yet. So I went in to listen to the box, it was a 1,500 box. I knew it was down by the marathon somewhere. And I heard our lieutenant,
Keeley, Chief?
No. It was our lieutenant, he's a captain engine 2 now. Blanking on his name. Chris McGrath.
Chris McGrath, yeah.
Goes Tower Ladder 17 to fire alarm. We got 2 blast sites, 2 separate blast sites, and we got, mass casualty engines. We need ambulances to both sites. I'm like, what? So I ran over to my locker, grabbed my gear. There was a kid from Ladder 24 that just finished just come in from finishing the marathon. And he sees me run and grab my stuff, and they're hitting the second alarm now. There's chatter on the radios that you can hear, and even though there's 70 people on the main floor of the firehouse. And he goes, what's up? I go, they just blew up the marathon. Yeah, blew up the finish line. So we grabbed some medical gear, and we're like 5 blocks from the finish line. It's almost like a jump ball between us and 33.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
In
Poppy Square.
They're a straight shot down Boylston. We got to cut through some up by the Hancock. But me and him ran up there, and Paul, your brother-in-law, we just missed him because he goes, I saw you just run up the street. And we went up there. So what another blessing we had that day was that the first blast site was legit 100 yards from 30 doctors, 70 nurses, 40 paramedics. We had they have a whole mass casualty tent set up. I mean, it wasn't designed for emergency surgery and tourniquets and stuff like that. It's for all catch and runners. But we had tons of help at Blast Site 1. And, there were doctors doing hardcore stuff in that tent when I walked through it. And when I came out, when I popped out of the tent onto the Boylston Street side where the blast was. Kevin Meehan and who was a pump up, was a captain I did 7-9, was a pump operator at the time, and I forget who else. Someone else come running down the street and go, "There's more bombs, because people drop their backpacks and screwed,
yeah.
Understandably so. And by that point, up at the second blast site, as much as there was plenty of help at the first blast site, they were on their own kind of.
That's where I was.
Yeah, up where he was. They were struggling for help up there.
Because nobody knew
it was distance, Neal. How far was it?
It was 5 blocks.
5 blocks?
Yeah, maybe even less.
Probably like 3 football fields, 4 football fields.
Yeah, but I mean, the Chiefs got confused when they pulled up and just saw the finish line. They were like, "This is it." And it was actually the other bombing at Boylston and Exeter. That was it was just as bad.
I'll give you one. They started using paddy wagons, which was a great call, like lugging people because they were running out of ambulances.
Can't say paddy wagon anymore.
Well, what is
discriminatory to Irish? A transport vehicle now.
So they were using paddy wagons. And when they listen to this, listen to what happened. So they had guys, Pat Foley and trying to think, another guy. They did great work, and they had people who were bleeding out.
Mike Matera, right?
Yeah, Mike Matera. They threw tourniquets on people.
I saw a couple of videos where people were throwing tourniquets on people.
They throw them in the back of a paddy wagon. They close the doors of the paddy wagon. There's no lights in the paddy wagon. There's no window. There's no nothing. So, thank God, they said they were on the detail. They were doing a paid detail. So they told, when you go to the detail for marathon, you got to have, whatever your checklist is for stuff that you got to have with you. And lights was one of the things they made them take with them. And they said, thank God we had lights. It was not more scary trying to hold the tourniquet on all the lights disappear.
Yeah, holy shit. That's weird. Bouncing around.
Yeah.
Is that a required piece of equipment for firefighters, a tourniquet?
It is now. The ones that we had were not effective. We used our belts. We were taking our belts off. A lot of guys were limping back to the firehouses holding their pants up.
Jesus.
And everyone,
we got those too.
Are you guys using the CAT TQs, like the North American Rescue ones with the twisty bar on it and all that?
Yeah. Black strap.
Yeah, I don't know. I walk around with that as a civilian. Never mind as a firefighter. I don't know why anyone wouldn't carry that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they went out. Tourniquets kind of went out of favor for a while, and I mean this was just.
You're right. They did even in the FDNY.
You needed real tourniquets to stop the bleeding. And I mean it was just. I think there was 37 amputations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there were that many. I mean, plus the other serious injuries. If these guys put those bombs on top of the mailbox instead of next to it, there would have been 100 decapitations.
Holy!
They put them on the ground.
Everything was low.
And they put one of the bombers put it right next to Martin Richards, lives right up the street from us, 8-year-old hockey player, went to school with Tommy.
I mean, all in time, but Jamie went to school.
But I mean, so this family, the Richards family, are watching the marathon. The husband, wife, and 3 kids. Next thing you know, the father's unconscious, the wife is unconscious. One of their kids is dead. The other one's missing a leg, and
that was the kid who passed away. I remember that one kid.
Yeah, that's what you wake up to. He was from our neighborhood, so.
Yeah, I went to church out back here.
The outpouring of support was
great family. The special people.
But it was just this guy. I want people to know, that was so disgusting what they did. He put that right next to that kid, and that family will, have survived and persevered. But I mean, just imagine that being yourself. Never mind the hundreds of other people that lives were affected. I mean, the kid Bauman's.
You can't be more of a coward to do those things, right? You can't be more of a
kid
coward.
Bauman was in really tough shape. He's the one that his legs were hanging off. They ended up both getting amputated. But he's written a book now, got married, Wow.
A lot of good stories.
Where was your wife, Edzo? She was in the marathon. Where was she? What part of the marathon was she in? You said she was
my wife?
Yeah.
So she finished the marathon. She took the right from Boylston to Arlington when the bombs went off.
Holy shit, that's cool.
So she was probably 2-3 blocks from the firehouse. 2-3 blocks past the bombs, and then made it to the firehouse just as I was running out the door. And she was like, "What is up?" I go, "They just blew up the marathon." She goes, "Those were bombs?" I thought they were like the ceremonial cannons they do in 5-4. Other guys thought we had transformers and manholes.
Right.
But Benny, some of the guys that work with us that were in the war, They knew right away. They said that's an IED, you know.
Crazy.
But my wife, thank God, she come through like right at the right time.
Yeah, it's a close call.
You got
man.
the kids.
Dude, it's all luck at that time, right? I mean, same thing. 9/11 was all luck, depending on when you work and where you were. You know, guys on this stairwell died, guys next to, you know, in the hotel. If you were standing here or there, you know, you lived or you died. That's it.
Crazy.
It's just luck of the draw, really, like you said.
One thing this job teaches is when it's your time, it's your time.
It is when it's your time.
That was my brother's famous line. Your number's up, he used to say.
Yep.
That was one of the first things they taught in drill school to us.
Did the
say, hey, sometimes it's just your time to die.
Yeah.
Did the marathon change things for you guys? Did the marathon change things for the department? Like did it change like procedure or anything like that?
Well, we had an absolute buffoon for a boss at that time. And I think you helped in removing him from
maybe
chief of Boston Fire Department. But really lack of not at the battalion or division level, but at the higher levels, it was weak. Yeah. It didn't look like it's, you know.
I think
we changed it. We changed our own tactics. Like
it dialed us in to be way more aware of like crowds. You know, we had July 4th in our district. You know, whatever it was, 4 months later, and it was like I worked that night too, and we were kind of like it was a whole different feel.
Yeah,
like
different
here
feel.
on your arms.
Exactly.
Like
you know, some
you
stupidity
know?
is going to happen. Some shit ass.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like? You know, 2 bombs went off. You guys was in the back of your head. Could have been 3. Could have been 4. Could have been other ones, right?
When I was a captain at the time, and I got 2 firefighters with me. So of course, if I go, they're gonna go. And I remember running down towards the finish line, and I ran the marathon with my cousin who wasn't on the job yet 3 years ago before he went in the Navy. 4 years ago, we ran the marathon together. He goes in the Navy, gets his veteran status, gets on Boston Fire. He's new on Boston Fire, and now we're running down there again. And all I'm thinking in the back of my head is Brian and Jimmy gonna get? Am I gonna lead these guys to their death? Like they would have won anyway. But I had that in my mind. It was the creepiest feeling. Like I'm running next to my cousin because we each holding an end of a backboard, and we each got a box full of medical supplies, and that was just like any second. Like this could happen.
You're just waiting, right? You're
just waiting. Like you just wait. It doesn't matter, but you gotta go. We had 75 guys or 45 guys on detail. I think every guy on that detail ran towards. Every single civilian ran away. I mean, that's what we do. We had off-duty guys. Other off-duty guys ran. One guy was in the academy. He was in the academy at the time, and he ran and helped and load patients and stuff.
A lot of people stepped up, man. A lot of civilians, like off-duty military people. You know, one of the things, like one of my takeaways. I mean, you said like, hey, what if there was a third bomb? Like, you guys know, just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like until someone, like when they said, hey, everyone's cleared out of here, and now once they get the victims out of the way, then okay, let the bomb squad come in and secure all those backpacks. One of my takeaways was we probably should have, like, we had a tower ladder. We knew we had backpacks right across from the first blast site that people left because people screwed. I don't blame them. But we probably should have repositioned apparatus to try to absorb if they were 3rd or 4th or 5th bombs.
Yeah, I grabbed the mini Radiac Canberra out of the back of one of the Chiefs cars and just grabbed it. Then I handed out the other 3 to guys, and I'm like, listen, just in case this is a dirty bomb, at least you'll have the REMs and the RAMs. You know, you'll have a counter on you, see what you're exposed to, and then other companies coming in. Somebody said it over the radio. I think Steve Mitchell, lieutenant on 26, said. I handed him one. He's like, oh, yeah, we got to deploy these. Then he said over the radio, make sure everyone deploys them because I didn't have a radio. So that was one good thing. So at least, and they weren't, thank God, they weren't dirty bombs. But my hazmat years, like, that's very simple. If they just had some kind of radiological source.
Garbage in there,
Yeah, from anything, from a survey meter. But the other thing a lot of people don't know is the victims that died, the cops wanted to leave them, not the Boston police, but they wanted to leave them there to do the crime scene, the feds. And we had firefighters stay with them all night.
And cops.
And cops stayed with them all night to stay with their bodies.
Oh, shit.
And a couple guys retired. It was their last run. They like, that's it. I'm done. And guys literally put their papers in next day.
That'll make you change your mind quick.
Yeah.
The cops did a, you know, those 2 kids went over and killed the MIT cop that following Thursday. and we had a union meeting that night. And I remember I came back here, and my brother-in-law's an MIT cop, and I talked to him, and he says, "Hey, we think it's all related because they saw those kids on the MIT campus, they recognized them."
Okay.
And that started that whole manhunt in Watertown, you know. But the cops did yeoman's work during all that too. In EMS, we got a third service up here. EMS is in part of the fire department.
Really?
They did great work, yeah.
And who's the kid? DJ, the cop, Boston cop that they don't really count as one.
Oh yeah, he got
Dennis,
an aneurysm from the blast.
Yeah,
he
Dennis
died like shortly thereafter.
What was his name? Dennis something. But
yeah.
So I mean, Sean Collier, and then the other kid, Sean Collier got killed sitting in his
they
police
assassinated him for his gun.
And then the other kid got shot in the femur and bled out, but they got him back. He was in like traumatic arrest.
Yeah, that's right. The Watertown firefighters saved him.
Yeah.
The paramedics.
So this was all going on over days of lockdown.
I was gonna say, was that like a week or days or what?
It was like so Monday was the marathon. Thursday was the night that they assassinated the MIT cop that started the chase. Friday,
I forgot about that.
Went
I remember
all
that.
night.
Now.
Friday went all night. They had the FBI HRT, hostage rescue team were hitting doors on the one of the brothers' roommates down at his college, and they were chasing down there that Friday night. And then I want to say it was later Friday night that they ended up
they shot the one kid, right?
Yeah.
And then they found the other kid under the boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that must have been a stressful week, right, man? Like,
it was a crazy week.
Yeah.
That was one of the first times like martial law was actually implemented. Everybody staying home, lockdown in place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Outside.
I remember that. Yep.
And we did. People did.
I didn't even realize that. That's what
No,
happened.
I remember that.
Huh.
Now, how far away from that was that? Watertown, you said?
Yeah, about 10 miles west, not too far. But
Probably
the other thing is,
even.
I mean, they had 8
Boston's
miles.
small.
They had pipe bombs, and they were going to New York. They were heading
Yeah, they
to
were
New
going
York
to
City.
New York. Yep.
But they had pipe bombs, grenades, like, that kid, I can't think of his name, the cop, but he had one go off right near him, and like months later, he died out of an
I
aneurysm.
forgot about that with the cops.
Jesus.
But they banged it out good. They were the cops did yeoman's work on that one.
Good to hear, man.
Yeah, just watch Marky Wahlberg in the movie Patriots Day, kid.
Yeah.
He's
He
a
did
Boston.
everything. Mark
Is he a
Wahlberg
Boston guy? He's a Boston guy, ain't he?
He tackled everybody. He solved all the crimes.
I was wondering. Yeah, I was gonna just ask you how long Marky Mark was on the force up there.
Right?
It's from our neighborhood.
It's from Dorchester.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice,
Is he?
man.
Yeah.
He's a hard worker.
I remember as a kid. I think he's about the same age as me. I remember playing street hockey and stuff, and when we were like real young, like 8 or 9 years old.
You remember beating him down at all, Neely?
And the next time I saw him, he was in an underwear commercial. I'm like, you want me to find him?
He was a Calvin Klein kid.
And now he's laughing.
Yeah.
He's laughing.
With
He's a great guy though. He does
but he does a
for
lot.
a lot of people.
He does a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He works real hard too, and he's a good Catholic.
He gives back.
Yeah, man. And nothing wrong with that.
So how many years are you guys together now, man? 40 years?
Who? Us?
With him. You Edzo. 40 years at least.
30, probably 20, 25, 30 years. Like
More money.
More money, yeah. I'll be
on the job. Yeah, you're close. I bet
yeah,
you,
Jesus, it is, yeah.
It ain't quite 40, but I bet it's 35.
Pete, I think somebody sent us a video of them too, right?
Yeah. Wait,
I saw the video. Oh, yeah, nice.
No, they sent us this video of you guys when you first got started. Hold on.
Do you have the links? Yeah. Now the links are a symbol of eternity. Because in the link, there is no beginning. There is no end. Because it's a circle.
That's kind of nice.
It's not like a triangle. Triangle has like a corner in the ends. This one is a circle.
Okay, we get it. 3 quarters.
Please exchange the links.
All right, take that. Right here. Thanks.
It's a promise of your love forever together.
Beautiful.
For all eternity.
Okay.
Because it's a circle.
Yeah, we heard about the circle.
Yes, we're familiar with shapes.
Hey, I'll point
Very
out the
romantic.
New York City fight.
Yeah, we heard about the circle.
Yeah.
Nothing like a
We're familiar
circle.
with shapes. We're familiar with
Life,
shapes.
yeah, life would be pretty good if I married a chief.
Pension would go up. Yeah. Better pension.
Nice one, boys.
Yeah. Be all
Nice
right.
one, boys.
All right, Edzo. Edzo, tell us, what are we running on here? What are we looking to do if you become president, bro? What is it? As brief as you can make that. What?
Very simply, I would like to accomplish the task of recalibrating the moral compass of this organization back to the boys in the street, boys and girls in the street, the firefighters that are out doing the job every day. That's what we got to get back to. And we lost it, to be honest with you.
Really?
And yeah.
Well, I'm sure anybody who's on the job, I mean, if I was on the job, that's what I would want to hear. I mean, I was never a union guy, but I would say that because of where the union was, where they were. Nobody cared about that. It was always like the upper echelon guys. They didn't care what the guys were doing in the street. So that was always the most important thing, right?
Bring it back down to the common man, the firefighter, the guy on the street.
That's why we pay dues for each other,
Absolutely.
I say that the mission of the union starts in front of a church and works backwards. We got one of them jobs that we don't all always come home. And those of us that do got an obligation. Those of us that don't take care of their families, and that's where the union comes in.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, like any union, it ain't perfect. No union's perfect. Not the union, not a marriage, not any union, not this United States. No union's perfect. But it's better than not having nothing. Because if we don't speak for each other, we're screwed.
Yeah, man. How many members strong we got?
325,000 in North America. A few out in Guam, too.
Really?
Coops. That's a lot of subscribers.
Panama
Bro.
Canal Zone.
That's a lot of subscribers. Listen, I'm going to vote for Edzo. Everybody.
And we want to bring it to the streets, and we want to subscribe to Gettin' Salty Experience.
Yeah.
You know what?
You guys get paid
I
by the
promise.
subscriber.
You know what, though? Edzo brings up a good point. You want to recalibrate the moral compass, right, to bring it back to the firefighter. But you're not just talking about that. It's
Pete, we were making a joke, Pete. We were laughing.
No, I know we were laughing, but I'm bringing it
right.
back. America needs to recalibrate the moral compass. It's the same. This is a societal problem right now, brother. So it's not just the union; it's everything.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, that we've had some fortune to go through some good times, good economic times. But I remember my father, he was getting demoted from lieutenant, back to firefighter, and my uncle was the president of the union, trying to get guys back to work. They were laying guys off left and right. They closed firehouses. We never got back. And even in 2009, when we had the scumbag administration, they closed 2 districts on us, battalions, 10 and 5. We never got them back. They promised we're going to get them back. So if we don't push
sore
for that,
spot for some guys that died number 3 on the Chiefs.
yeah, I died number 3 on the Chiefs.
Done the bastard.
And I wanted to work in Car 5. That was the busiest chief in the city, and now it's gone. It's just they just up and just disbanded it.
A couple of guys, Edzo, in the chat are saying the IFF was hijacked. It's time for us to get it back. Yeah, man.
That's it. That's why it's running.
Baby.
Yeah,
Right on.
Yeah,
it was.
Yep. I wanted to ask you before. You were talking about when you had all those problems with the rigs, the dilapidated rigs and shit like that. How did you finally get the city to come across with some funds, bro, with some cash? You can't shame them. They don't give a shit.
No.
We fought to basically. We won to a losing position in an arbitration where they positioned the city council not to fund our arbitration award, which was basically an attack on collective bargaining in the city. And we did? We called a special union meeting. We had 600-700 guys show up down the union hall, and we passed the motion to assess everybody $100 every holiday check.
Oh shit!
And we raised $1.8 million in about 15 minutes, and then we went over and told the 3 friendly city councils that we had with us to go tell their pals that we're going to come take them out next November. And that was how we created the pressure to get a contract done.
Nice.
Old school Boston
That
politics.
is old
I
school.
say
bro.
that, man.
It was.
You can't sweet talk them, headlock them.
I like Yeah, man. A couple of remarks in the chat. Make firefighting great again. And the IAFF swamp needs to be drained. All right, bro.
Yeah.
I like
got a
it.
little momentum here. I like it.
It's good. The boys are on board.
And let me finish though. You asked
Go.
a question. That's how we got our contract done.
Right.
We didn't fix the funding in the fire department and get new apparatus and training and investing in health and safety till we had a change in the mayor.
Yeah.
And we backed the right horse. We backed a guy named Marty Walsh, who's let me tell you, we're building the new firehouse that we're building has like
State of the art.
state of the art, like hot and cold zones, trying to get the carcinogens out of our living environment. We had a big investment in cancer awareness and prevention and early detection and all that stuff. We have tons of training now that we never had. They replaced the whole fleet of fire apparatus.
Wow, that's great to hear,
We
man.
had behavioral health training. We had physical fitness training that they had brought in Navy SEALs to do. And I mean, he actually invested in us, and it's paid dividends. And he just got he was nominated by President Biden to be the Secretary of Labor, and they had his Senate confirmation hearings this morning.
Wow,
So
that's great.
It's good news for all of us.
Except
Yeah.
we're losing our mayor.
Yeah,
We're
Except
losing a
you
good
lose
mayor.
anyway. You can have
Who's
our
from
mayor.
Dorchester too. Like
Hey,
we
you want
want
our
mayor?
Dorchester.
We don't want ours. You want ours?
All
We-
roads
You can have
lead
our
to
mayor.
Dorchester. We don't want your mayor either. Keep on here.
So it wasn't your last mayor was from Boston. Bloomberg.
We
was
send
too.
you the shit apparently.
yeah. Thanks, bro. Appreciate
It's
it.
working out great.
Right? Yeah.
I think
that's
that
great.
didn't they say that about you in probie school?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Good for
There you
you,
go.
Cubes.
That's a pisser.
They couldn't understand what I was saying.
Hey! Salute.
So
He lost his mic again. Guess what Coops is going to have to do? Leave and come back. There he is. We
He's
can't
talking
hear
to
you,
nobody.
Coopies. All right, Coops, you got to leave and come back. There he is. All right.
It's
Mamma
everywhere.
mia.
Hey, so riddle me this. Where did you guys work?
So but Kevin and I got on the job in '93 on the FDNY. I went to 117 truck in Astoria, Queens.
Queens.
Right, I was there for 4 years, and I went to Squad 288 when they opened up the squads. That's Kevin and I both worked together.
Do you have a Paulie Greco?
I know Paul. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
Paul just passed away, but
unfortunately, he was a great
Paulie
guy.
was
I
in
worked
Squad
with him at
270. His
Yeah.
son's just got
Son
into.
got drafted.
He's on. He was on Florida. He's with the Rangers.
Anthony Greco, yeah.
Yeah, he's on the Wolfpack. We hope all the time that he's.
I remember when he was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there the night that when he was there, when he was born. I was around that time.
Yeah, unfortunately, Paul.
288's a great, and they had hazmat in the two for a while.
We had the
right?
hazardous
Yeah.
materials, and but Paul, he fought the tough fight, man. That guy fought a long time,
Yeah,
man.
he did.
What
Yeah,
a freaking shame.
yeah, cancer. So
But,
Kubla was the weak link. Now that he's off, I can say that. The weak link.
Oh, look who's back on.
He tying knots.
I heard you, motherfucker. I wasn't going to like, I heard you.
That is cool.
And he did the wrong thing.
Kubla beat me out for the physical fitness award. I would have got to pick my company. He beat me. He did 110 push-ups in a minute. I
Son of a
think he was
bitch.
using performance-enhancing drugs. in 95.
No,
They
never.
tested for that.
No,
They tested for that.
Don't they test for that,
They
bro?
had him testing.
He would never do.
Correct.
Yeah, Petey.
Oh, Petey.
Congratulations on your major award. I'm still sore about that. Still pissed. I came in second to you.
Yeah, you went to 235, so that you really needed it, right, bro?
Yeah. I landed on my feet.
Yeah, right. Hey, who just sent Peter personality in the mail? What happened? Sent him a sense of humor. Somebody texted him one. He's funny all. Where we at?
We were just talking about where we worked at 288 together, and then Kevin stayed in 288 the whole time. I got promoted right after 9/11 in June of 2002. They were short guys, so I got promoted in June of 02. I worked in Brooklyn. It was in 29103, and then I actually Coobs had convinced me to try and come back into SOC, and I came back and I went back as lieutenant in Squad 288 for over 10 years, and I retired.
Don't get busier than 103 from any time since the 60s to now. Like
that
103
place was
still
definitely
crazy.
you definitely learned every little facet of every little part of the job, no doubt.
Yeah. The
was
little
good
Sheffield
place.
Ave, right? It was the little house on the prairie when you.
It was.
There,
It was.
right?
It was. It was.
East New York. Yeah, it was the only building on the block with a fire. Everything else was burnt down.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
two
nice saves over there.
bricks across the street. That was it. And then they
Nice
built the
saves over there
Nehemiah.
in East New York. Yeah, lots of vacant lots.
Yeah.
Good job, Lou.
Yeah.
We did
Parking
do some
lots that
good there.
nobody wants to park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, it's
So
coming
wait,
around.
I gotta ask you guys. All right, so like about 100 questions in this freaking chat were all about what your experience was like shooting that show, the fire rescue show.
Oh,
What was that?
God, that was.
Well, I gotta leave that to him.
Yeah. Listen, I'm
ahead.
positive it was fucking terrible because I work in television, so I understand. Believe
It was
me.
pretty good. I watched it today.
There was, I mean, the premise of it wasn't bad. In some other cities, I guess it was okay. You know, the problem is the way they set it up. They basically rammed this camera crew into the third floor. They had no agreement on personal space and who goes where. The camera crew had basically free reign until we told them, basically, you can't come in the back room. We don't want you in the kitchen when we're eating. And so, you know, it really got a lot of guys. I mean, there's 10 guys, 12 guys working in that firehouse with a whole crew, you know, 4 or 5 guys in there.
Brutal.
I mean, the first time they were there, we had a fire, and then my father was actually at the fire, and it was the neighborhood I grew up in, and my cousin, who's got special needs, was watching the fire, so we went over and gave him a hug, and he saw the sat on the fire truck. We took a picture, so something like that was great. But when there wasn't fires, they were looking for stuff, and guys would know. They come watching us play basketball and stuff. We were kind of getting in trouble for that. You know, if somebody took a wrong turn, it was in the blogs and everyone knew about it. But the worst was a girl jumped on the rig. This associate producer jumped on the rig while the guy was getting his gear on. He didn't see her, and the truck pulled out, and she was in between the door and the truck.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe Kirby grabbed her and pulled her in, and if he didn't, she may not have made it.
Jeez.
So that's when we said, this is getting out of hand. Plus they were sending 37 to fires that we normally would never go to. They were just sending, the job was sending them there because the Discovery Channel was complaining they're not getting enough fire footage. So now we're showing up at other people's fires, and they know why.
Oh, that went over like a stinking shit.
They didn't like it. So we lost both captains.
Fought in church.
4 lieutenants transferred out. 12 guys transferred out. I
Oh,
got in a fist
shit.
fight with a guy, literal fist
Wow.
fight with a guy at the Union Hall, a big lumberjack, and he punched me right in the eye, gave me stitches, then offered to drive me to the hospital, but then he didn't know how to drive a stick. So then he held the ice pack over my head while I drove to the hospital, and then we went
Luckily,
back
he's a trained EMT.
and we drank beers, you know, for the rest of the night. But yeah, it was bad. Like there was some bad blood there.
You never let a reality crew into your home, into your job.
Yeah, but that was
into
that was
anywhere,
early on.
ever.
That's not.
That's
you
what
know,
I'm
now,
saying.
2003.
now you know
but-
it.
No, but I'm telling you, like, yeah, especially back then because they're looking for drama, man. I was working
Right.
on a lot of reality shit back then,
I still
and they're
think it
telling
was
you in
kinda-
your ear, they're like, make drama, give me a shot that opposes these two guys, you know.
And we wouldn't do that. And I mean, eventually it does make the job look better. People, it's good the public saw us live doing what we were doing, you know, even though 90% of it's just, you know, medicals and bells and smells. But, you know, when you get a fire, people don't, now they do more. And like, you can YouTube any fire in the world now. But back
Right,
then it was like,
right,
hey, we got to
right.
show them like what we really do. And I was, you know, I was a young lieutenant telling guys with 30 years on the job, put a uniform on. It just was uncomfortable. It was, you know, there should have been somebody there at a chief or higher level that was saying, this is exactly what I want to happen.
Right. It
This
should
is
be
how
from
to
the
do
press
it.
desk or something like that. Somebody from a press organization in the fire department who's handling. That's kind of how it works now, I think. But
Yeah.
that shouldn't be left on you. You know, throw you the ball, and
Right.
everything's on you to decide where they can go and what they can do. And
It could, yeah,
you know,
it could have
you're
been done a
getting
lot
punched in
better.
the
And
face.
they caused a bunch of fights. I mean, there were fist fights, and I'll declare that now. It's over 20 years ago. It's almost 20 years ago now. I mean, you know, guys just, there was hate.
yeah,
Guys were
sure, I could see
transferred
it
out.
happening. I could see it happen.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants that shit in their firehouse? You know what I mean? Like you said,
And-
everybody transferred out of the place.
And
for
there was
God's
no,
sake.
like, what did Boston Fire have to gain? It like the Discovery Channel didn't come and cook us dinner and, you know, write us checks or anything. Like we got nothing out of it. And then you got your balls kicked in on the blogs back then because, you know, I wasn't treating a patient the way that somebody else would treat a patient. There was one scene where EMS, we had a minor injury and we were treating the patient and a box came in for a building fire and the ambulance went right by us because I called in a leg injury on the girl. So the ambulance went to the fire and I was in the ladder truck pissed that we weren't going to the fire. And I got mad on one of the videos there and it's still like some people in Denmark send me it and say, I'll take your job. You know, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
And I
We missed
gotta
the fire
go
because we went to
catch these.
What
these
was the
episodes.
video where the FDNY team beat the Boston team? What was that?
Oh, the hockey, yeah, at the hockey game,
That was the hockey game. There, right?
yeah.
That's the same one.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I no idea on which episode is which, but
How many were there?
the hockey rivalry's always been good. So that was kind of a good.
Yeah, no, it was. How many episodes were there?
I don't know, 10.
Oh
15
shit! So it went
maybe,
on a
I don't
long time.
Yeah, it was there for like almost. They were there for almost a year.
They were way
No
better down
shit.
that house.
I didn't know that.
I couldn't handle.
I thought that was like a
couple-
1 week thing.
No. I couldn't.
No.
You know what's really good though. A lot of places are doing their own stuff now with YouTube and everything that it is. Like I watch certain shows. Like Miami Police Department has their
That
own.
was like a week or a
reality
month or
show.
something.
Yeah.
A year's too long, man.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
not.
Who is Wild Bill Sweeney? I want to know if you guys know who Wild Bill Sweeney is.
I don't know, Wild Bill.
No? All right.
No.
What about the Beacon Street fire?
Ooh, I was working.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was
I was off, but I ended up there.
I was the captain of. You guys call it the fast truck. I was the captain of the RIT truck. Was ladder 18, and we probably wouldn't go in there till like third alarm. But the phone rang right away. It said, a couple companies are out. Ladder 18, you're the RIT on that box. So, all right. We start driving from Southie, which is South Boston, towards the fire. We got to about Foley's, which is a famous bar we all drink at East Berkeley Street. I'll never forget. That's when I heard the Mayday. And I didn't know who it was, but it was Engine 33, Mayday. And, I remember who it was. John Cavalieri was driving. Mike Blaney was sitting behind me. Nick Clifford was sitting opposite me. I'll never forget it. We're hearing that Mayday and just that voice. And it was the worst fire I've ever been to. It was one of the worst days of my life, if not the worst day of my life. We pulled up to 298 Beacon, and it looked like there was a 747 on fire inside it. The wind was pushing off the Charles River from the north at about 40, 50 miles an hour. And it was just we stretched the line to the hallway, the front hall. There were two lines, and we got in about 15 feet, and it was literally like a blowtorch going by us. Multiple guys got burnt. There were backdrafts. I got thrown up in the air, down the stairs. A bunch of guys got thrown off ladders. Literally, it felt like someone turned on a F-14 engine and blew us out of the building. And the guys in the rear ended up getting Mike pretty quick, 15 minutes in or something. 20
More
minutes
money
in.
than that.
20 minutes, yeah. Well, we're not getting them from the front, from the Alpha side. It was just it was like trying to go into a blowtorch. The guys in the rear didn't have it much better. But at least they had the wind with them. But man, this building was an inferno.
Was that building shorter in the front than the back?
It was a regular brownstone design.
You know what happens down there? They built them all when they were horses and buggies. So a lot of them, they built garages off the back. So they'll build like 30 feet of garage off the back, off the ground floor.
All right.
This particular joint didn't have one. So that compounded the wind because each side of it had 10-foot brick walls going out 20 or 30 feet. So there was like a wooden part.
It was a wooden setback, yeah.
All that we always lose a floor or two in the rear in the south.
It was a full floor on this one.
Back bay.
Yeah.
Some 3 stories. You can go on the first floor and go down 3 stories in some of the old brownstones in the south end and back bay. So that particular fire, cellar fire, it just took off on them. I don't know whether the windows went in the back, whatever happened, it just went quick.
Yeah, that line burnt through. And
Engine 7 got burnt out.
Engine 7 got burnt out. They thought they had the pump operator for 33 said you have water because you could see the line going in. It was charged, but it had burnt right off to the top of the stairs. So that blowtorch must have took the door, the window, and it just went right up the stairs and cut them off. But I mean,
I'll give you, for instance, the light bulb underneath the stairwell never popped. That much fire, but it blew up the stairs and past it. That's how heavy the wind was.
It came from behind them, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they would have. So the stairwell going into the cellar came from the middle of the first floor going down into the rear. So their first due engine, 33 come in first due engine.
7 came in second.
Yeah, they're just ahead of us from our house coming into that address on Beacon. So 7 come in right, almost like probably 20 seconds behind 33. But both 17, my truck, and 15, I think they were both at headquarters.
Yeah.
One was getting the MCT, the mobile command terminal worked on, and I want to say
The other one's
17
at radio.
They were both getting shit done at headquarters.
Yeah.
Which isn't that far away. It's second alarm due type stuff.
I think,
Not that far.
I think it was good that they weren't there.
We would have more guys killed. And so that's how like a bunch of trucks moved up on the car. But 33, the smoke coming first floor. They had a girl meet them on the sidewalk and say, "The fire's in the basement." And you get there by going up the stairs and down the stairwells on there. So all these buildings are chopped up. They built them 50, 60 years ago. They've been they're all chopped up, same as in New York. So if you got someone that lives in the building that tells you that's where the stairwell is, that's where the fire is, that's how you get there, I'm going to take their word for it. So they ran the line in. They made the basement. And that was when 7 coming right behind them, backed them up with a 2.5. And that was when the shit hit the fan. And 33 got trapped down there. And 7 was on the first floor making the stairwell to
down.
back them when it blew them all out. They all got burnt up.
It came up.
It burnt the line that 7 had on their shoulders. The line, the canvas burnt on the line. That's how hot it got that quick. And they kept trying to make pushes. When these guys got there, 22 come in.
Yeah, we were 22 trying to get in.
They tried to make another push.
Couldn't make it down the stairs.
And they were just getting blown, literally picked up and blown.
We made it to the top of the stairs. Dick Clifton made it to the top with an 1 3/4 and said, we ain't, there were no stairs. The stairs were all burned off. It was now we're calling for a ladder, it's just, and then by that point,
it never happened.
It started backdrafting and blowing, the whole building was shaking.
How they wind up putting it out?
Just dump water on it for hours and hours,
Do we always do?
There were no hydrants on Back Street either behind there. The first engine that got water was from like 6 miles away.
Neal, how long
to
did
get water to the rear? The front we were good, but we were going into the wind.
Yeah, toward the rear. I remember seeing the video. They had the video of that.
Yeah.
And the pictures of the fire coming out the second floor was just coming out heavy.
And every time I second guessed myself too, I'm like, should we have just gone to the rear? But I was ordered. I mean, there was a chief pointing.
The second new truck took the rear.
They did take
Patty,
it. Yeah.
Captain on 29. Patty
Lynch.
Patty Lynch was the boss on 26, the captain on 26. He, our trucks are all we all worked down that neighborhood. Like, he knew to take the rear. He come in Back Street and took the rear. And usually our third due engine would come in the rear. And the pump operator the hydrant man on 33 had checked underneath the stoop. He's a senior guy, Dennis Keith. He come in and checked underneath the stoop and said, "We got a shot at it right here." And by then, car 4 was coming in. He says, "Chief, I got a shot at it right here." Even though 33 committed to the first floor, which is what the girl told him that was an occupant. He says, "We got a shot at it." So he says, "I need a line." So he grabbed 22 to go run their line underneath the stoop to make it the rear that way. But it was a couple different apartments in the basement. And that was when the shit hit the fan,
What did they, it was the wind then?
Yeah, the wind killed us at that fire.
Yeah. Cold wind, dry March day.
It was just vicious wind. And it has the other thing. So if you look at the back bay, it's a grid, like Neal said, right? A, B, C. And
because it was all filled. It was all filled
in one street in. Like, we were on Marlboro with the same fire, we would have had the Beacon Street buildings blocking the wind coming
off
off
of right on the river, right there.
But we were right on the river. There was nothing. It was just boom.
A couple of guys in the chat are asking. Pete asked the brothers, since Boston is on the coast, how much research has the department done on wind-driven fire?
They've looked at it substantially, but we haven't changed our tactics, our SOPs on it. I think at the big house now has a curtain, and they train on it, and they tell us to be aware that we have one. But I haven't been in any actual hands-on deployment training that they've used, and I don't believe we have. I don't want to say we don't. They'll look like a jerk, but the angle nozzle that goes from the floor below to the floor above that New York uses. I know they were testing them. I know they looked at them. I think we may have one, but
Again,
It takes a lot of manpower, Neil, to get that blanket into operation.
We're getting there with the getting up to speed on it.
Well, we have those blankets, but it takes a lot of work
Manpower,
to get
right?
that in. Yeah, it takes a lot of man. You're not doing that.
I know we have the blanket.
3 guys on a rig.
Nozzle in service.
You know, it's we do it because, like I said, we kill it with manpower. But and we've had opportunities, and it's worked out. Some good, some bad. You know, but it takes a lot of guys. You got to be on the floor above, right? You got to drop this thing down. I mean, usually when we're losing it, that's not an easy position to be in. You know, it has to unfold perfectly, and it's not an easy scenario.
They did bring the Chiefs, and we did command training with Sean DeCrane, who's like a NIST UL expert on the fire flow, and he came in and gave an awesome presentation on So the knowledge is there, the awareness is there, but I mean it was windy the past few days here when we had a couple of good fires, and it was still blowing around.
Yeah, well,
most of our stuff is wood too, so it just goes right down the street. You're not stopping it with anything. But that one, if we get something in a high rise, that might be a different story.
What were the guys' names again at that job?
Lieutenant Ed Walsh and firefighter Mike Kennedy, and they died like men.
They were great guys.
Salute.
Man, I'll tell you.
Salute.
Cheers, boys.
Ed and Mike.
They were 2 guys you'd want to come get you if you were calling Mayday.
Mike was the strongest human I'd ever met in my life. He was my CrossFit coach, and he could deadlift well over 500 pounds. Like he could still run a mile in less than 6 minutes. It's insane fitness level and strength. He was indestructible. And Eddie was even bigger.
Eddie wasn't far behind him.
Eddie was a monster too. Eddie was 6'3" or 4. 6'4". He just looked like a big. Yeah. He had a command presence. I'm looking up at like this at him.
And he was in the engine, huh?
No, he was on 15 his whole career. Got promoted.
Oh, he was in.
We get bounced usually when you get promoted, and he bounced a little, and then he came to our house for like a month or 2 on the engine, and then he went back up to Boylston Street. So he had 15 years on 15, probably roughly before he got made.
Yeah, nice kid too.
Great dude. Both of them.
Both the guys you want to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brother.
Matter of fact, your pipe band was up in Boston the night before. I think it was your pipe band, and it was the National Burn Conference, and they needed diesel for the bus, so they pulled up to 33, and Mikey filled up their diesel for the bus.
Is that right? The day before.
And then they 33
crazy.
went out the door and he got killed.
Wow.
Liam Flaherty told me that story from rescue. Too.
Yeah. Liam he's the head guy.
Yeah, good man.
That sucks.
Yep, God bless him.
Yeah, a lot of good men. 343 guys. That's incomprehensible still to me. Still incomprehensible. How many guys in our class group was it? I thought it was like 12.
It was a lot. Yeah, Dougie Miller was in our squad. He died. A lot of guys from
Steve
up
Silla
there.
was in my carpool for a little while. Stevie Silla.
Yeah. Petey Brennan, Joey Hunter, John ILB.
Johnny I was a good friend of mine.
We had a lot of guys in our Pro B class.
Yeah, it was.
I can't believe it's coming up on 20 years already, bro.
It's crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
That really is a blink. When was this job, Neil? How long ago? It wasn't too long ago, right?
2013.
Yeah, right. I remember that job.
14. The marathon was 13. And Mikey worked the marathon and worked on people at the marathon. And then it was like almost a year later, the date was the Beacon Street fire.
Let me ask you this.
And we all ran the marathon the next year.
I live up about an hour and change north of the city, but so a lot of guys up here who live up here, they either work in the Bronx or they're working up in Manhattan, right? They work in Harlem, because it's closer, right? So, but I always worked in Queens and Brooklyn. So people up here would always ask me, "Hey, you know this guy? You know this guy? You know this guy? You know this guy?" We got 10,000 guys, right? So it's like a needle in a stack of needles, right? So and it's always McCarthy or O'Neill or something like that, right? Freaking Irish. But I would imagine with you guys that 1,500 guys, you know almost everybody, right? If somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, listen, McCarthy," you're going to know the guy for the most part. Or no?
I mean, there's a lot of younger guys on now.
It's changed.
It's
like
kinda changed.
we're old now.
They're the old guys.
I know the
Hired
feeling.
100 kids a year for
Yeah.
15 years,
But I'm saying,
you know,
in your heyday, you would know most of the
I would
guys on
say
the
that
job.
we probably know everybody on the job that's at least our age or older. We
Yeah.
probably know almost every officer. Maybe some of the young lieutenant too.
Yeah.
Even young
I
captains.
definitely don't know all the bosses, like even that come through, you know, that acting or whatever.
Still a lot of guys. It's still
Yeah.
too many guys
Yeah.
to know everybody, right?
Yeah.
So these guys in the chat are going off here, and
Here we go.
everyone's got this big boner for you Boston boys. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions here from the chat. So
Go ahead.
they're asking, what Pro B school was harder, Neal? Was it FDNY or Boston?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I would say fitness-wise, New York was a little bit tougher. The ropes in New York, you know, having to do go over the side of the building on day, 2 or whatever, rappelling and stuff. That's basically the do or die right there. And I remember some kids that, like, I'm not doing it. One kid, they threw the aerial 100 feet up. He just wouldn't go. And they said, so you're more of a number in New York. In Boston, I would say they work with you a little bit more. But now, I mean, that was then. Now they got the mandatory PFT, the fitness test that they have to do in a certain amount of time. And it's kind of apples and oranges, but they were both challenging. They were both in the winter. They were both cold, and it was, I think Boston just was easier for me because I lived right down the street as opposed to living in Staten Island and getting to the Rock every day and getting up at 5 a.m, getting home at 5 p.m, one of those deals. And I'd already done it. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. You already kind of went through it.
but in Boston then we were doing driver training at the academy too, which was challenging, driving a ladder truck, and everybody had to kind of pass the EVOC thing. And we did the water rescue suit in the cold Boston Harbor. We had to paddle out and grab the victim, and that was challenging. We still do we did the Pompier ladders, the scaling ladders.
You still do that, huh?
Pass the pump, they call it. So we go up 6 floors with the pumps and then go back down at rite of passage, and then you have to jump in the airbag from a 2nd floor roof. So those are some little things that New York didn't make you do.
Yeah.
But New York was more of a grind. Like, it was like every day you do another revolution. Boston, we do up and overs. We throw a 35. We throw the 50 every morning. That's, but they all get done.
Don't do the pumps down there?
They don't do the pumps in New York, no.
I did that in my Pro B school.
You might, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that, like
We
you
didn't
said,
do it, Coos, right?
we took
We
them
didn't
off
do
the
Pompier
rig.
ladders.
They took them off the rig a few years after
Well,
I.
Scary
I
ladders?
did too. I
Yeah.
went off the rig, but they still
Oh,
make
we
you
did
do
the
it.
scary ladders, bro.
Did we do them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Yep.
I don't even know
Do
if they still
do it.
do
Is it mandatory for
No.
like everyone?
They're done. They don't do them anymore.
Yeah. I think we did. Yeah, we did like only a couple stories, right?
Yeah.
The wooden one.
Yep.
I get a feel for it. That's right. Yeah.
So
What else you got, Petey?
there's a few good ones here. Another one is, can you ask the guys what special assignments and tasks do their rescue companies have other than fires, and is it similar to the FDNY? So I guess, do you guys have like a SOC unit or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they do trench, tunnel, collapse. Well, I think we still do tunnel. My truck used to be like a squad, right? So our house, 9 and 2, 14 and 4. When I got on, we all had to go get. We had outfall. We had a couple tunnels being built, big time tunnels, like 13
Oh, right,
miles
the big
under
dig.
Big dig.
Big dig,
And we
yeah.
had the outfall tunnel was 13 miles under the harbor. We had a fire in there.
Ooh,
And,
I'm out on
we
that.
had we looked like Ghostbusters. We had
I'm
this
out.
big mass. We had masks that looked like the Ghostbusting machines that we'd go down. We had to do tunnel, trench,
Jeez.
collapse, confined space, high
Hazmat.
angle. Hazmat was a separate discipline for us. Different trucks and companies did that. So rescue was like obviously the primary, which we go by seniority transfer in Boston. So rescue 2 was like, in rescue 1, you're like, you had to have some legitimate time to get there. So rescue 2 was probably the most senior company in the city, and they used to call it Rescue Too Old. And it had a sign on the back. It had a sign on the
Not to
back.
their face, no.
Use caution. Senior citizens are exiting vehicles. On the back of the rescue. But they were like you talk about old school firemen, like that's all they are. Like we go in and they'd hire people to come in and teach us stuff. And I was in the wreckers union, so I did I knew how to ride a jackhammer. So we'd have to go in and like, work on jackhammers and this and that.
That's cool.
I just remember the old guys on the rescue, like Franny Baxter and
Keith Bessie,
old nuts,
Jack McKenna.
They'd be like, kid, the knots. Just keep tying it till it's the size of a melon. You'll be fine. Just stick with the melon knot. Just keep tying.
How about a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
You
can't tie a knot, tie a lot.
That's it, buddy.
All right, here's another
But I mean,
one.
our rescue one.
Yeah, sorry, go
Your
ahead.
rescue one and our rescue two and your rescue two are kind of similar because our rescue one's downtown, your rescue one's in Manhattan. Our rescue two's out in the neighborhoods, like Dorchester, Roxbury. So they're similar in that way. I would say they carry basically all the same shit too.
Yeah, they do. All rescue ones got to do the
Rescue one
scaffolds
is
and all that shit, right?
I was rescue one as a lieutenant for 9 months, covering an injured lieutenant when I first got made. And but I mean, I had all senior guys. I had like Eddie Loader, Leo Hughes, Larry Carr, Matty Nihil. Like
Eddie Loader would be a good guy.
Eddie Loader
was
was
a
a legend. Loader the legend. He's got he looks like Pritchard. He's got the medals like Captain.
Yeah,
Pritchard.
he's walking around like this.
He's walking around. Yeah, he's our guy. He's our Pritchard. Yeah,
He's not cocky at all, though. He's very matter of fact.
All right, Neal, send me his number if you get a chance.
I'll send you. Yeah.
So
Eddie would be great on this show. He did about 40 years on the
Yeah, he
job.
retired from our job, but he works for the state like as an instructor still. So he's still in it. He's still in the game.
So the other thing is, all these guys are asking about is why the truckies have a red front on their helmets, red on top
cap.
of it. Red cap. Well, yeah, what's going on with that?
Just time and eternal, man. I don't know. It goes back to the horses, I guess. I guess it was, if a chief was looking for a truckie, he looked for a red cap. Say,
Gotcha.
go do this,
Yeah.
Makes it easier. Yeah, you separate the
It's
job.
It's the same helmet that we had, Neil. It's
What's
pretty
that?
much just the helmet is the same, or it's a little more low profile, or is that the front piece that's like that? Like when I look at
No, Boston, you paint the top of your helmet red if you're on a truck.
oh, all right.
Yeah, truck or a towel.
But still, it's a regular leather helmet.
Yeah. Instead of being all black, they just paint the top.
Yeah,
I got you.
When you get to your company,
I think
they
I
have
sent you a
paint the top.
picture. I think I sent you a picture of helmets.
Okay, yep, I got it.
Like collection.
Yep,
Oh,
stand
you're a
by.
little buffinator.
Here it
I
comes.
lost the man cave because of COVID, and now we have to do homeschooling. So
Oh, nice.
That's the
That's
new
an old
man
one.
cave. So the one on the right, the red one, was my grandfather's.
Really?
This one right here.
So yeah, I'm getting a front piece made for it because we can't find the front piece. But the other one was my father's, the 21 lieutenant.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that was my uncle that like an honorary helmet when he was the Union president. That was my captain helmet that was my Boston helmet, my ladder 18 captain at the end. And that was my first helmet in FDNY.
35. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like a leather one, right? Oh,
That's
no.
all leather. They're all leather.
They're all leather ones.
Yeah. Oh, they're all leather. I didn't realize that
Yeah.
because I'm not a firefighter.
That was my uncle Mike's
Nice.
was the last one now.
Nice, boys. Cool.
Beautiful.
So if I had a son and he wanted to go to the Boston Fire Department, and I called you, and he could go anywhere, where am I sending him?
Well, Edzo's going to say ladder 17 because I would say engine 21 or ladder 23 because that's where the two houses I grew up in. Edzo were up in Broadway. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Broadway boy, but if I were picking, I would say I would pick a boss. I would worry less about there's a lot of good houses, I wouldn't. I could be comfortable with my kid going to a lot of.
Well, I was just going to rephrase that question. Where are you sending your kid when he gets on the job, Edzo?
Well, I'm still going to be on 17, so we're going to have to go somewhere else.
I
don't know. We'll see who the bosses are out there when the time
Yeah, that's
comes.
a good point. That's a good
I want
point.
to put him with someone that's
a good point, brother.
going to teach.
I like that idea. That's what I want to hear. Better than just the reputation of the house. I want to know who the boss is.
Yeah. I don't
Good
know who the
point.
boss is, and if he's going to have him for a while, he's going to have him for 3 or 4 or 5
Right.
years.
If he's going to get
That's what I
promoted in
want.
3 weeks,
Yeah.
then it's a big difference,
Right.
right?
That could have been
Or a
all
senior man. Like I'd chase a senior man too. Like, if I knew I could get him to someone I really trusted and respected.
Right.
on the
Yeah, it's
job.
important, man. That's important. That's really the key, like you just said, because you trust those guys, and
Yeah.
he's going to come out of there. That happens with the FDNY. A lot of the guys we've had on talk about that. you know, going back to the certain houses because of the tradition and the guys that they know, like all the guys you know. You know, you just mentioned 20 guys you know that these guys are going to learn the job. They don't always have to go to fires, but they're going to learn and drill, and they're going to learn how the firehouse is supposed to be.
They're all going to get that, like, you know, I mean, you're going to get your fires, like even what we would consider like our districts that you'd be like, hey, you really want to send your kid to Eastie or Brighton or whatever, like Eastie and Brighton, they got hellacious fires. Some of my best fires were in East Boston.
Me too. They're by themselves for a long time too, because there's a tunnel. It's a 2-mile long tunnel you got to go through to get there. There's no other help coming.
In Brighton's by themselves, and they got everything in Brighton. You know, there's good work. You know, I mean, hey, I got to tell you, Boston's a rich city now. You know, it's property values through the roof.
Yeah.
It ain't like this. It ain't like, shit ain't burning the way it was. Although the last couple of weeks, there's been fires every night almost. You know, I worked last night and it wasn't, but there's been a lot of fires lately.
But I mean, if you can get
frozen hydrants,
they don't appoint probies to rescues anymore, but they did at one time. We had maybe a handful of guys that got on rescue 20, 25 years ago and is still there.
Wow.
But man, like, the only thing I'm concerned, like, they're going to every fire in that division all the time. I worry about rescue guys because of the exposure they're going to all the time, especially the older guys. We saw a lot of guys come out of rescue 2 and get sick and die. You know, it did, and there was no question. Now we look back, there's no question it was the exposure. I mean, we just started washing our gear, 7-8 years ago. We just got the washing machines thanks to Mike Kennedy's mom. She bought us all, her foundation bought all the extractors. We put them all in, replumbed the whole system. But hopefully, I mean, you never know now, but hopefully we'll see a downward trend in the cancer. But I mean, we got GSP, my buddy Glenn Preston's been battling for years.
Every day there's a new guy. Every day. Every
day,
goddamn day. You know what it is, Neal? Those guys are never going to change. Even if you could tell them they've been doing it for so long, they're never going to change. It's got to be the new guys. You know, we had this discussion on here a long time. You know what? I never worried about that. You know what I worry about it? I retired a year ago. Now I worry about it every goddamn day, right? I'm thinking about all the shit that I breathe, food on the stove, all the bullshit running. Not even the job so much. The bullshit. The
odors,
oh my God, the oil burners. You know how many times I went down an oil burner?
How about car
fires? All the
food
bullshit.
You just said it. Food on the stove. Those pans.
Teflon pans.
You know, like you go like we got
hydrofluoric acid.
A couple a day. A couple of 24. A couple of those at 24.
You know, it was easy.
I didn't worry.
We have Chinatown, unable, all senior housing, all.
The guys in the chat are asking if on these jobs, did you guys ever hear of anyone using certain types of devices that rhymes with beater?
No cheaters. No cheaters on BFD. Last time I saw one was on FDNY in probably 97, and somebody got caught with one and they got in trouble then. So we don't do them. We got the new MSAs with all the bells and whistles, and it wouldn't work. And there's no way to. I have seen them in my career though.
I saw someone with one once, but I never used it. I've running out of ears, no friggin' fun.
Nope.
No, I mean you gotta have that. You gotta have that face piece on. No question about it. If anyone's out there like it ain't worth it. Don't do it.
I love it.
Now the fires, the fires are faster, they're hotter, they're sneakier. There's they're in knee walls. You pull a ceiling in it. I was in Coolbs. We were in the academy when McNamara, right? No, Pete McLaughlin.
Pete McLaughlin
from Rescue 4. Like they pulled the ceiling, and he was this experienced guy in Rescue 4. And next thing you know, he was gone.
Yep.
Ty Ho was like that. Ty Ho, they were in a. They were talking to each other across a room with a clear room,
and it came down from the fire in the cock loft.
It was all grease up above the drop ceiling, and once it was the flue it was a Chinese food restaurant for 30 years, and there was a crack in the flue, and so the grease just caked across the ceiling. And when they had a grease fire, and they went and started hitting it, and the grease up above the ceiling hit its flash point and blew down on them, and they said they walked in the restaurant. It was clear as a bell. People were eating. You got to get out. Place is on fire. And
I've done that.
Yeah. And
people like this. What?
Hey,
like,
30 seconds later, Jimmy Boy was telling me, like, we're walking in. He goes, I just said to Vic, go next door and pull the seal and let me know if it come across. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground cupping my stuff because
right
it's
down to the floor,
rolled down to the floor.
Yeah.
You know, and he goes, just like, bang, you know.
Yep.
That's scary.
And,
Those jobs
killed
scary.
it. You know, we had 2 guys that killed in that fight. You know, that God bless him, Warren Payne
and Paul
they
Cahill.
needed dental records for Paul Warren, you know.
Oh,
And Paul got hit with a
He was like you guys call the OV. He took the windows out, you know, in the restaurant, and then when he pulled I don't know if he pulled the ceiling or if it just flashed,
I
but
think it just lit.
he was like, his radio melted and gave a mayday on the emergency button on the.
Holy shit!
That's how hot he went from 70 to 1700 degrees. They said in like a second, 700 degrees, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's a.
But I remember my father was on the safety committee at the time. He said his mayday button, the orange button on the Motorola, melted and activated.
Wow.
And the other kid, Paul Cahill, the only line operating in the building was engine 30. He had the pipe.
He had the pipe.
And those guys that were still in the building when they were like turtled up, they said the only thing that saved them was they could feel the steam coming over from the kitchen, and that was all Paul.
Paul was operating.
He
Wow.
held the line open the whole time.
Job will humble you in a second, bro.
Those 0 to 100 jobs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
I just dig the fact that you guys, even guys like you, with all this experience, are recognizing wearing the mask, doing the right thing, the carcinogens, all that stuff. That's a really cool new trend. You know, that we're all hearing about, you know, for weeks now, right, guys? Everybody, all the guys coming on are all talking about like the big C.
Scary because all our friends are dying. Everybody's dying every week. It's a new guy every week.
1995, Kevin Duty from Engine 235. He said, "Put that thing on your face and don't take it off till you get out of the building."
I remember. I know Kevin. I remember.
Kevin Duty said that to me. We had a van fire. I was with Billy Carlson. We put our masks on at this van fire. We opened the back door in the like middle of Bed-Stuy. We're knocking the van fire down. Propane release. The guy was hauling around the propanes for the food vendor stuff, you know, and the relief valve went and it blew a blowtorch right at us. And I remember Billy's like, hey, "Thank God we had our masks on, because we had Johnny Squad Cullen, who made you put your mask on."
Yep.
You know, Johnny Cullen was ahead of his time. He was a good boss.
Was Lois there?
Lois was there. Yep. Lois was my senior woman.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably have her on in a few weeks.
Yeah, she's coming on in a few weeks.
Fire, yeah. Oh, she's coming on, Lois.
Yeah.
The lovely Lois. Yeah, make sure you ask about the time she chased the knife shop on a guy out of the firehouse with her own knife that he had just sharpened. A lot of double dipping.
We'll have to bring that up.
She was.
Kev, is it about that time? What time is it?
Yeah.
You know, he had such a good tip. Maybe we give Edzo, you know, with the whole, you know,
pass? We'll give him a free pass on that one.
Yeah. No, we'll give him. He's got to give him one. Guys, with this amount of time, it's that time, Pete.
Yes, it is, and it's time for the old school tip of the day.
All right, so we'll start with Neal first.
All right.
He's the chief.
I still have my original hat issued from the FDNY. So that's you can see it. Is that salty enough?
Yeah, salty, bro.
And I still have my original sweatshirt issued.
Oh, that's my favorite sweatshirt.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, where's my New York patch?
I
You guys
love
can
it.
see it.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So my tip is take pride in your company. This was the first company that I was assigned to. Whatever company you're assigned to, that's your company. Take care of the men, take care of the firehouse, step up, get off your ass. You should be working the entire time you're there in the day. And have enough pride to keep a hat for 27 years and never throw it away.
I like it. I like it.
Don't walk past the full trash barrel. All right, here's my tip of the day. Don't get on a pole with wet clothes. It's like jumping.
That's a good one.
That's what my father told me when I was graduating drill school. He goes, "Don't get on a pole with wet clothes. It's like jumping out a window." So we have 3 alarms at Dartmouth and Beacon. I'm soaking wet. Come back, hit the second floor. Run comes in. I jump right on the pole.
Express.
Some lessons you just got to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? That's how you remember them.
Edzo, I saw the boss one time. I think it was 288. The guys were cleaning the rig, and then somebody, you know, was wetting down the wall, and they wet the pole down. They were cleaning everything, and we got a run, and the pole had just been wet, and he took the express straight down, and we had to get him up and out, and no doubt about it. That's definitely.
Yeah.
That's a good tip, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you learn some of those things. You learn the hard way.
Hey, we're lucky we still have poles. Now they're putting slides and wide staircases in new firehouses and stuff like.
I was actually just going to ask you that. The guys, they're still taking the pole there?
Poles. What's that?
They still take the poles in Boston? Are they still taking them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like my poles. I use
There's nothing better, yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that.
It's actually safer than the stairs. Guys get knocked over. I've seen them fall downstairs. And
yeah, in the middle of the night, if you jogging down quick or you just woke up. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, we got one pole in the big house. It's about 40 feet. It's a big, thick, wide pole. Like you gotta hang on, and you're going for a ride. It's a long ride.
Yeah, at 40 feet.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure 235 had a good turnout.
235, you had the double pole, right? You go one and then jump over to the other and go down.
Right.
And 37, yeah. And 47 had the double spiral staircases, so you have no choice there.
You had to take the pole, right?
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, you can't get down those stairs fast. No way.
That's right.
Nice. I got one more last question for my man Neal.
Yeah,
any difference in the turnouts from Brooklyn to Boston?
You mean the gear, or you mean getting on the
turning out, getting on the rig?
Speed.
Well, it ended a lot later in Boston than wearing the bunker gear in the firehouse. Like, I think New York ended it earlier, so that gave a little bit more edge there. But I mean, there's still Boston's fast. I mean, that engine wants to beat those other two engines just like they do everywhere else in New York. New York is actually a little kinder especially in Manhattan, with your first two on the ticket. It's kind of your fire as long as you're in sight. It ain't like that in Boston. Like, it's cutthroat. Nice. It's more like Brooklyn. Yeah, like you can have 2 3/4 running up the front stairs and elbowing each other and
really
punch each other down to the fire. Yeah,
or throw the line in the door and shut it.
It's our job.
Yeah. The truck guys will step on the engine's back, will break out the railings, try to climb up to the landing. Yeah, it's still pretty cut. What happens in the building stays in the building, Coops.
I hear you, bro.
Right?
I hear you. Yep.
Like Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I like it. Awesome. All right, fellas. Great show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, very good. I enjoyed it.
Hey, thanks for having us. It was fun.
I like rekindling with my boy Neal. Same squad, everything, bro.
Yeah, baby.
Yep.
That was a good time, man. Hey,
thanks. I try. You too, brother.
Yeah, so Peter's just gonna run us out. Just don't hang up yet. After we go off live, we'll be in like where we started in the pre-show. All right.
Yeah, and, but you guys got your shout outs first, right? The Coobs and Lou.
Yeah, we do. Edzo, what can you guys do? They want to vote. Who do they talk to? They got to talk to somebody. They got to twist a few arms. What are we gonna do to get you elected?
Well,
send Rocco and so and so to Charlie to find your checkbook.
Help the judge.
Tell your delegates to vote early and often.
Yeah.
All right,
Local 94 and 854.
Great supporters. Have been great.
Yeah.
Jake Lamond is the best from local 854. He's running for secretary treasurer. Great guy. He's been great supporter. And you guys know Jake at all?
I don't know.
No.
Jake's a battalion chief. He's the president of the UFOA. He was a fireman up in Harlem and the Bronx and bouncing around.
I mean, I know the name, but I don't know him.
Great guy. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, best of luck, brother. Well, I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you know.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Blue, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, I got 2 shout outs. So the Massachusetts Fire Academy is graduating tomorrow. The guys sent me a quick email. So I want to wish them good luck. And also the FDNY Fitness Barbell Club, Sam Mina sent me a quick text and email today. So guys, check him out. He's sending us a couple of shirts. So, Coops could wear some muscle shirts and
boys husky
website. Yeah.
Boy,
size small.
Medium.
They got girl sizes over there. You know?
They do? Awesome. Beautiful. Is that it?
That's it, kid.
All right. I got one. It's a very sad story, but I need the Leatherhead Nation to turn out here. My brother Tommy, who's not a fireman, he was this close. He was going to get on. His niece Lauren, 27 years old, beautiful girl. She had an aneurysm and she's fighting for her life. So, if you guys could throw out some prayers, we'd really appreciate it. Even maybe tag my brother Tommy on Facebook with some prayers. She really needs it. Young, beautiful girl, man. Too early, way too early.
I will say a prayer for her up here, Coops.
Appreciate it, brothers. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're giving shout-outs like that. Our pal Mikey Ricci was a ladderman down ladder 4, and worked at 26 with you, and drove a chief in our house for a couple of years. He was murdered about a week ago.
Oh, I saw that on the news.
So we're burying Mikey on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, brother.
51 years old?
Yeah, I
51
think
years
it
old.
was 50 years old. I saw that.
Yeah.
Holy
good,
shit.
great guy.
Kev, you want to give him the bell? Do we do
Tragedy.
the bell for that?
Yeah, man. We'll give him 5 counts for that. You ready, brothers?
Roger.
That's too bad.
Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace, brother. All right, Petey, take us out, brother. Neal, great show, man.
It's hard to take us out.
Be safe down there.
Edzo for president. Edzo for president.
It's hard to take us out after that kind of stuff. But guys, if you're listening to this fine podcast on iTunes, podcast, Spotify, or wherever fine audio podcasts are found, you should also be tuning into our channel, which is this one, youtube.com/Gettin Salty Experience, where you will take your booger picker off the bank switch and hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Guys, when you hit like, subscribe, or share, you are telling the YouTube algorithm, hey, I like these guys. I want to see more of them. And then we get to do better shows with gents like the Boston Jakes here.
You guys are wicked pisser, by the way.
Hey! Beautiful. Guys, also head on over to Instagram, where Mr. Refrano at 5:30 every morning is uploading the finest, saltiest fire photos at Salty Dog Inc. and giving you the last bit information for the shows. And also, guys, head on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com, where, again, you will find the coolest, best firefighter apparel and accessories. Last but not least, guys, if you have a question for the show, shoot it on over to gettinsaltyexperience@gmail.com. And Mr. Refrano would love to hear all your suggestions on who we should have on the show next, because that's his favorite thing in the whole wide world. All right, guys. That's all.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Monday night. Stay low and go, fellas.
All right, we'll see you at the big one.
Be
Thanks,
safe,
boys.
everybody.
Be safe.
Cheers, boys.
Enzo for president.
Right on.
Yeah.
Got it.